This program is brought to you by Beijing Capital Land, leading the way in property development across China, and Feng Tai, the beautiful gateway to Beijing.
In its fourth year now, the Beijing International Triathlon has gained the reputation as Asia's premier swim, bike and run event. Set in China's national capital and against the historic and stunning backdrop of the Feng Tai district, the Beijing International Triathlon draws athletes from Asia Pacific and across the globe. Triathlon is a sport that transcends all borders, and the magnificent International Garden Expo Park, with its eclectic showcase of gardens and landscapes from around the globe, creates the perfect setting for the ultimate triathlon challenge. Welcome to the 2015 Beijing International Triathlon. I'm Mark Fuel, and once again the beautiful district of Feng Tai plays host to a triathlon that has rapidly developed iconic status. This year, more than 1,200 athletes representing 39 countries and an incredibly competitive elite field. Right now, this finish line is calm and quiet, but in less than 2 hours, there will be thousands of screaming fans eagerly awaiting our 2015 champions. We're just minutes away from the race start, and down in the middle of all of the excitement on the swim dock is our expert commentator. Good morning to you, Jenna Parker.
Good morning, Mark. The excitement is certainly building down here at the start line. We're looking for two fantastic races today from the pros. We've got Eric Lagerstrom, who won Alcatraz and will be the first man to ever do the Alcatraz Beijing double. So that should be exciting. On the women's side, Ricarda Lisk is back for the fourth year in a row. Her first year she was fourth, and then she was third and second. So this year, maybe it's her turn to take home the win. I can't wait to see what happens. It should be a great race on both sides.
And it's not just the elite field that gets to race on this great course. 800 competitors in total, a lot of nervous energy, plenty of smiles, and as always, passionate supporters. It's a truly international field, with both fresh faces and wily veterans looking to use their past experience.
Coming back to Beijing is like the highlight of our year these days. The Beijing International Triathlon just offers so much to us. It's a chance to travel to a very unique event with an amazing course, great people. They're very enthusiastic, the Chinese, about the triathlon. So, you know, we wouldn't miss it.
I'm always happy to come back here because the people are so friendly, and the organization of the race is just great. So I'm looking forward to come back to see the people again. You know, they always see the same. And and for me it's great to see the development of the race, because every year they're like actually double of the athlete than the year before.
The culture is really rich. The food is different, and but it's a beautiful place. Unfortunately, we've had blue skies here, so you get to see the mountains, and it's beautiful.
We're just minutes away from the start here, Jenna, and every athlete has a different pre-race routine.
Some of the athletes will choose to get in the water to warm up. Some will do a light jog. The great thing is that we see a lot of them smiling and having a really good time. It's a different feel from a lot of other triathlons.
And of course, we have a small but world-class field. Who do you like the chances of?
I think we'll see Josh get out to a really good start in the swim, but you can't count out Greg Bennett's bike riding. It'll be a great race.
He's set the bike pace for the last 2 years. Let's see if he can do it again. Now to the women, only 2 women returning from last year.
Laura Bennett's back again. She's always a threat, but I think we'll see Lauren Goss have a great swim like she did in Alcatraz.
This course really reminds me of Alcatraz. Just kind of one of the things I loved about Alcatraz was that like every minute something is happening that would be the coolest thing that you did in any other triathlon. And this feels like it's going to be the same way. And I feel super fortunate that I'm going to get to just like do triathlon at this venue, let alone be racing, you know, a bunch of other incredible athletes.
In presence of this race course, I say wow, because I signed up for this race, and I didn't look at the maps and anything. I didn't even watch the video, so I came for like a fast Olympic distance race, and then everyone was like talking about hills and stairs, and then so I got to explore here on this place, that it's pretty hilly and challenging and beautiful. I have to say it's beautiful.
I compete in the ITU World Triathlon Series, and this race is totally different. And I like it, this bike course with a lot of hills, with fast downhills, and the first part totally flat. So I'm very excited to run here.
The Olympic distance swim course will begin from a floating dock around the Garden Expo Park venue. A clean start is essential to ensure the athletes make the first turn in good position. After the 700-meter third leg of the rectangular swim course, the athletes will make the final turn, and a 50-meter swim sprint to the ramp will determine who exits the water first. The athletes will then endure a 680-meter warm-up run to transition, mimicking the unique warm-up run from the infamous Escape from Alcatraz triathlon.
Each year, we're fortunate to have many dignitaries at this race. And once again, the governor of Feng Tai, Mr. G, officially starts the event. It's almost time, Jenna. What makes for a good start?
It's a small field, so it'll be important for the men to get out quickly and get their position.
The 4th annual Beijing International Triathlon is underway!
It's a 1,500-metre swim, but right now it looks like a 50-metre sprint. The athletes are absolutely going for it as the women prepare to start their race. Perfect conditions today.
Last year, the women started 2 or 3 minutes behind the men, so starting 30 seconds back this year may play to some of the strengths of the stronger swimmers.
Last year, we saw Josh Amberger and the world champion Javier Gomez dominate the swim. Amberger up the front, but this time he has a lot of competition.
It looks like Cescudé from Spain is sitting right there with Josh. Maybe the two of them can get a break like he had last year, which will set him up for a good day.
And there we see the women a mere 30 seconds behind. Will there be any of the women who are able to catch up to the men?
30 seconds is still a pretty big gap, but you never know. Some of the weaker men may get caught by some of the fast women.
Godoy out in front, the multiple Spanish champion. He is young and he is strong and he is determined to lead this race. The women are close behind.
This is interesting. It looks like as much as they're trying to split this field, everyone is really hanging in there. I don't know if Josh is going to get that lead that he likes to have out of the water.
Amberger is a swimmer who likes rough conditions, and today they are smooth. There's barely a breath of wind. Laura Bennett leads the women.
This is not unusual. Laura's a fantastic swimmer, but it looks like one of the newer Chinese athletes is sitting right there behind her. This is something that the Chinese team has been doing, going to their swimmers now to turn them into triathletes.
That is 25-year-old Zhong Mengying, who is sitting beside Laura Bennett. But all of the women are fairly close together. We do have some athletes that are longer course athletes. Will they be able to keep up with the speed of Laura Bennett?
We've got Caroline Steffen and Magali Tesser, who both specialize in the longer distance. Actually, Caroline is preparing for Kona right now. So their swim may not be their strong point, but if they can stay in touch, they may be able to close ground on the bike.
On the toes of Bennett is Zhong Mengying, 25 years of age, the current national champion, and she was second in the Asia Cup this year. She is definitely a rising star.
She has a beautiful swim stroke. Right there behind her, Lauren Goss and Radha Vodičková, both big potential threats in this race.
The men are battling it out. 7 men are together. It does look like one of the male swimmers, Max Fennell, is dropping off the back. Here they are at the first turn can, and it is Josh Amberger back in familiar territory at the front.
Josh seems to be pushing the pace here. I think he's really trying to string this out and see if he can get a gap. This would be the good point to do it as you're coming around these buoys, because when you're at the back, it kind of gets strung out like a yo-yo effect, and you can easily lose some people off the back.
Greg Bennett hanging on to the back of the lead men's group. His wife, Laura Bennett, is in front of the women.
Laura led out many swims during her ITU career. Her stroke is just absolutely beautiful. And she's actually probably spent a lot of time in the water as she's been dealing with a bit of a foot injury this year.
The men now with about 700 metres to go. Godoy is in front. Amberger chasing hard.
The swim's a bit different here to Alcatraz. You know, Alcatraz being a point-to-point swim with currents and some different variables. Here it's a pretty simple course, but still a chance to split up the field. Last year there was a little bit of wind on the surface which created some chops, so there's definitely going to be an opportunity to really swim hard and split the field.
Amberger's challenge is clearly greater this year. He has not been able to shake off any of the contenders, and the man from Barcelona, Godoy, is right on his shoulder.
My approach to the swim is going to be the same way that I approach most swims. I'm going to use a strength to get out fast, and if it seems like a smaller group can get away, if they're, you know, if Josh is feeling great or whatever, then roll with it. Otherwise, use it as a moment to conserve energy. I don't think that's going to be where the race is won, but yeah, I mean, I just kind of roll with whatever happens, and if I'm feeling good, then I'll, you know, make something happen.
Lagerstrom clearly sticking by his tactics, staying in behind the swim leaders and getting the benefit of hydrodynamics.
We always talk about drafting on the bike, but we never really talk about it in the swim. And it turns out that if you sit right behind the swimmer in front of you or right off of their shoulder, you get a great benefit, and it can help you conserve energy.
The swim leaders in the women's race now, it is 3 different groups.
Laura Bennett's still leading out front, but Lauren Goss has moved up into that group. Behind the group of 2 is Radha Vodičková and Zheng Yi, the other Chinese athlete.
And the group further back is Felicity Sheedy-Ryan of Australia, Magali Tesser of Canada, and the Swiss, Caroline Steffen.
No real surprise to see Lauren Goss up in the front pack. Her swim has really been outstanding this year.
My swim this year has been very strong. I'm very confident in it right now. I'm enjoying the training and have really good training partners in Boulder. So I think I'll be up to the front in the swim. The guys start only 30 seconds ahead, so I'm going to try to catch 1 or 2 of them.
I had a really good swim the last 2 races. I was second out of the water on World Championship race in Zalamze, and then I was first out of the water last week in Sunshine Coast. And so I feel pretty confident in the water, but both of these races were wetsuit swims, and that's non-wetsuit swim here. So, but I still hope I can swim somewhere in the front.
Radka there talking about this being a non-wetsuit swim because the water is warmer. Explain how not having a wetsuit helps the stronger swimmers.
Stronger swimmers are comfortable swimming without a wetsuit, where wetsuits provide buoyancy, so a swimmer that's not quite as strong doesn't have to work as hard to keep their body on top of the water.
Ming Yang now challenging for the lead, the group of 3. Bennett beside her. Back to the men now. Godoy has retained the lead. Josh Amberger is having a tough time of it today.
This may be a tactic for Josh. He's actually been a little bit under the weather this week, so perhaps he's trying to conserve a little bit of energy in this swim.
1 more turn buoy to go, and they are heading for home. The men have mere metres to swim, and it's 7 athletes all together. We have a race on our hands.
This is incredible. To see all of these 7 men together coming into the finish, this is going to set up for a fantastic day out there on the bike.
Amberger won the Alcatraz swim leg by a minute this year. He is not going to lead out here at the Beijing International Triathlon. It looks like Godoy is going to take that honour.
This was a great swim for Godoy, but unfortunately, he still has 6 men on his heels. So it's going to come down to who's got a great TT position and who's willing to attack this bike course.
Well, Godoy, while young, has had a pretty good career on the ITU World Series over the last few years. He's had 18 top 10 positions, so we know he can race, and he is first up out of the water. Cesc Godoy, followed by Amberger. Right behind him, Eric Lagerstrom. Shu, Ruju Ang, O'Grady, Reed and Bennett. 6 countries represented, all out together.
Greg Bennett has had a fantastic swim. He is still in touch with the leaders.
Every other year here in the Beijing International Triathlon, he has been chasing. Now he is with the leaders. Back to the women, though, and his wife, Laura Bennett, back in front.
Still leading, still have a group of 3 out front. Lauren and Laura are going to set themselves up for a great day on the bike.
Godoy now in front, running on the carpet, having a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction.
This is something new. These long sleeve, aerodynamic, long distance racing suits, and it looks like he had his roll down and he's having a little trouble because now it's wet. He can't get it back on.
Amberger is going to seize the opportunity and coming up on his shoulder. It's 650 metres from the swim exit up to the transition area, and this is mimicking the famous run up to the transition at Alcatraz.
Just like at Alcatraz, this warm-up run is not something to be thrown away. You can gain seconds on your competitors if you run this well.
Well, while we had 7 men coming out of the water together, for the women, it is going to be 3. Laura Bennett first out, Lauren Goss next, and the Chinese athlete Zhong Mengying a little bit unstable on her feet.
It's always difficult to go from being horizontal to vertical that quickly. And now we're back in transition. The men have to get their speed suits off, get their helmets on, and get out on those bikes as fast as possible.
Eric Lagerstrom had a good run up into transition and also very fast out. There we have Josh Amberger. Matty Reed we're looking at here struggling with his suit with Graham O'Grady.
And Greg Bennett actually has already left transition as well. His run in from the swim must have been exceptionally fast.
On board with the camera on Eric Lagerstrom's bike, there we see the swim splits. Sescadoy of Spain, 16:51 with a 3:28 run up into transition. Amberger, Lagerstrom close behind. Here now is the run of the women, and Lauren Goss powering in bare feet on the carpet, straight past Laura Bennett.
Lauren is not taking this run for granted. She wants to get out on her bike first because she likes to be out front. She likes to be riding by herself alone.
Goss putting herself in a fantastic position. Now it comes down to a smooth transition. Bennett is chasing.
It's easy to want to rush when you get in transition, but the most important thing is to stay calm and to make sure you don't make mistakes. There, Laura had a terrific transition, and she's actually made up a little bit of time that she lost on that run.
You've got to make up time wherever you can. As we see Radka running into transition, this is the second Chinese athlete. Zhang Yi heading out, and Vodičková in a strong position and looking ready to battle it out on the cycle leg.
The split times for the women's swim, Laura Bennett with a blazing 18:01, followed closely by Lauren Goss. Radha Vodičková with about a 30-second deficit heading out onto the bike.
The crucial bike leg is next. China is rich with art, culture and history, and the athletes always enjoy the chance to experience all that Beijing has to offer. The Great Wall of China is a tourist mecca that receives thousands of visitors every day, and the professionals added their footsteps to the millions of others who have walked the wall. And the quickest way down is by luge. Cooling off after all that excitement, the next stop was a former emperor's playground, the Imperial Summer Palace. An opportunity to learn new skills and become one with the spirit of China. The competitors took time to reflect on life, take in the history and immerse themselves in an ancient culture. Old friends and new fans made for a memorable day in Beijing. It's a weekend-long festival at the Beijing International Triathlon, which for the second year featured a sprint triathlon. This was a unique opportunity for hundreds of new triathletes and some who competed for the first time last year to challenge themselves over a world-class course. These passionate competitors eagerly accepted the Fengtai government's challenge of getting into nature and to living a happy and healthy lifestyle. The enthusiasm for the event demonstrates that triathlon is delivering Fengtai's motto, new challenge, new life.
Mounting their bikes at transition, triathletes will then start a 40-kilometer ride looping through the scenic Fengtai district of Beijing. Starting with the wide city boulevard for the first 10 kilometers, athletes then enter the paved mountain road for their first climb on the course. At 20 kilometers, cyclists will begin their steep climb to the base of Qinling Mountain, passing ancient temples in the mountainside. The road then narrows with technical tight turns as the ride descends at the 21-kilometer mark following a U-turn. Cyclists will ride along the wide boulevards of Fengtai into the area's quaint villages before returning to the Garden Expo Park.
Josh Amberger of Australia in familiar territory, on the bike and out in front looking smooth. But Greg Bennett is looming and looking ominous in black behind him.
Josh still has all of the men that were behind him in the swim, behind him on the bike. But Greg Bennett's in unfamiliar territory. Last year he was about 2 minutes down out of the water, so this could play to his strengths.
Perfect positioning as they go past the finish line. They'll be back here in about an hour and a half time. Our lead men strung out. Josh Amberger doing all the hard work out in front, some sweeping turns, and then they'll be out onto the wide boulevards.
I wonder what they're thinking right now tactically. You've got a lot of men around you. It'll be interesting to see who decides to make a move, who wants to lead, who's going to follow. It sets up for a great race.
Lauren Goss, she is still inside the parkland, but pedaling powerfully and smoothly. She has the lead, but right behind her, Laura Bennett.
Laura Bennett's quick transition has kept her in touch with Lauren. It'll be interesting to see if these women will work together or whether Lauren will keep driving hard and Laura will be chasing. It could be a real battle today.
Amberger spent a lot of time at the front of this race last year. Now he's wearing the number 1 and he's leading the pack.
My approach to this is it's going to be similar to last year. If there's someone with me out of the swim, I'll try and break them early. Last year I think I dropped Javi in the first 5 kilometres, so my approach would be very similar this year. And on this kind of course there's not many opportunities to see the competition, so you can really use that to your advantage. There's just the one spot up by the Buddha, the out and back, where you can gauge where you're at in the field. So maybe it'll be a case of out of sight, out of mind, so I'll certainly be looking to hammer the whole way.
While the bike course boasts many beautiful and challenging elements, the simplicity of the wide open roads is perhaps one of its most unique features. There are few races in the world where the pavement is as pristine and the road closures as expansive, thus allowing the athletes to tackle this grueling 40K bike course through the Fengtai district with confidence.
And at this speed, confidence is critical. Josh Amberger looking behind him, keeping an eye on his competitors, but Eric Lagerstrom is starting to wind it up.
Eric has a fantastic TT position. For someone who races in the ITU, he certainly is dialed in on that bike. He's looking forward, he's looking aggressive, he seems to be hunting Josh down.
Graham O'Grady, Godoy, these are the top 3. Greg Bennett looks like he is content right now to sit and bide his time as we see Lagerstrom chasing after Josh Amberger.
This is some aggressive cycling going on. I know Eric had spoken about conserving energy, but maybe he feels like this pace just isn't quite quick enough for him.
On board here with Eric Lagerstrom as he takes the lead on this bike leg. He's putting the hammer down, and you don't get roads much better than this, Jenna.
You really don't, Mark, and it's allowing these athletes to ride aggressively, to take these corners hard and fast. It will make this bike a very fast time today.
You've still got to be very aware, though. We see a little bit of wet slick on the roads. Lauren Goss is charging in front. She's looking very smooth and comfortable. She definitely likes to lead and doesn't want anybody to take that top spot.
At Alcatraz, Lauren rode off the front all by herself all day. She likes to be up front. She likes to try to put a little bit of a lead in going into the run.
Meng Ying still holding down that third place. Laura Bennett riding really well here, keeping an eye on her competitor up front. She's got so much experience.
Laura has raced in Beijing. This was her 4th time. She knows this course from last year, and Lauren doesn't. So perhaps Laura's just biding her time a little bit, waiting for some of these rolling hills to come.
Lagerstrom's a Beijing rookie, but he's always a tactician.
This bike course, I'll take a pretty similar approach to what I did in Alcatraz and try to conserve energy on it. In Alcatraz, yeah, I use the descents to my advantage, and that's kind of like my playground where I feel like I'm just having a good time, and it doesn't feel like work and stuff. So if you are crushing hills and stuff, it's going to come back to bite you in the last 10, 15 minutes of the run. I think it's just going to be kind of conserving energy and staying within myself, but while at the same time, reacting to what's happening. So it's hard to say until we're out there, but like I said earlier, I'm just going to kind of go with whatever happens on the day and where I need to be.
Lagerstrom has decided that he needs to be out in front, dictating the pace. Greg Bennett, the man who has dominated for 2 years, in 3rd.
For me, the bike has always been somewhat of a weapon to either keep me in the race as a defense or give me a chance to really have a strong offense. I'm figuring tomorrow is probably going to be a defense in terms of catching back up and putting myself back in the race. It's worked well the last couple of years to give me that little bit of breathing room on sort of guys in 4th, 5th and 6th, which is nice to have. And honestly, the bike has been what's kept me in the sport to the age of 43. I think as I've gotten older, the swim and run have got a little bit more difficult, but my engine is still pretty strong and I can hop on a bike and still push the gears pretty well.
Well, that's certainly an understatement. Bennett is a powerhouse and the hills are his playground. This is the first incline.
Look at this move. He is leaving the other men in the dust. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody attack that hard and that fast. He's just absolutely shattered this field.
He is flying, as is Lauren Goss. She's vigilant as ever, looking back to see where her competitors are.
Lauren looks a little bit nervous. She's looking around, almost waiting to see if Laura's going to make an attack here, instead of just focusing forward on what's ahead of her.
Meng Ying still holding down that 3rd place. A smooth cycle stroke. She's looking very strong.
She is looking very strong indeed. It's great to see the Chinese athlete transitioning so well from swimming to triathlon. Lauren Goss still out front, riding to her plan.
The bike course, like I said, is very diverse. It's flat and then hilly, technical. I've been racing 70.3s, so pretty much TT position for 2+ hours. So we'll see. Obviously it's Olympic distance. I'm just going to go as hard as I can and see where I'm at. Hopefully I'm following a motorbike, though, and not another athlete.
Goss is exactly where she wants to be, with all the other athletes behind her. Meanwhile, Bennett looking smooth and aero. Jenna, how important is technique?
Technique on the bike is extremely important. Greg here is pedaling smooth. His body remains stable because he's putting all the power through the pedals to go forward. Lauren Goss is a little bit shakier, so she's losing a little bit of energy out the front of her upper body.
On board with Greg Bennett's bike, he is smashing the field. There is no one in sight. And now another climb as the road narrows and it winds up the mountain.
This section of the bike course is really fun. It's rolling. It's almost like a roller coaster. You can gain a lot of speed and you could put a lot of ground in on your competitors.
And here comes Matty Reid putting those long legs to good use. This is his 4th straight year here at the Beijing International Triathlon. He was 2nd in 2012. He knows these roads.
I like to see Matt being aggressive. He's a great cyclist, and if he can get himself off the bike up near the front, he could be a big threat for a podium today.
Lauren Goss now off the wide roads, and she is also climbing up this mountain.
A nice, smooth pedal stroke. She's keeping her cadence high. She looks comfortable, and she's definitely attacking this course, even though she's never ridden it before.
But Goss has been training at altitude in Boulder and is coached by triathlon legend Simon Lessing, so we know she's strong, as is Greg Bennett.
The bike leg is Greg Bennett's ace up his sleeve. He's got a field of young guys chasing him down, and he knows he needs to create the largest gap he can going into the run if he wants to win today.
Well, these are the two youngest men here, Josh Amberger and also Eric Lagerstrom from the United States, swapping turns, pedaling hard.
Lauren Goss on the roller coaster section. It's difficult sometimes when you're out front and you don't have time splits. So the best thing she can do is just be as aggressive as possible through all of these turns and climbs.
And this is one of the most beautiful parts of the entire course, the Quinling Mountain. It also signals the 21-kilometre mark, and it's downhill from here for Greg Bennett.
Greg's out front, made the turn for home, and now he's going to get to see how much damage he's done over the last 20K.
Lagerstrom, Josh Amberger, still a way to go to the top. Greg Bennett will be on the way down. These two guys are just swapping backwards and forwards, battling for second place on the road.
That may work to their advantage. If they can keep playing off of each other, they might be able to keep that gap to Greg a little bit smaller.
Now we have Laura Bennett staying in touch and making up ground on the mountain.
Laura is stalking Lauren. She's just sitting behind her, sort of playing off of her pace. And here, Radha Vodičková looks like she is riding hard, trying to make up a little bit of ground from the swim.
At the top of the mountain before a fast descent, Eric Lagerstrom getting a little bit of a gap there on Amberger. A charge from behind by Godet, and the field is still so close. Graham O'Grady from New Zealand also staying in touch. This is anybody's race, but Bennett is more than a minute up front.
This is unbelievable that the men's field is still this close together halfway through the bike leg. Some of these guys are going to have to make a move if they want to get on the podium.
Lauren Goss just keeps pushing. She also keeps looking behind her. She's definitely worried about her chasers.
And she probably should be a little bit worried. She's got Caroline Steffen and Magali Tesser, both of whom are fantastic cyclists and are known for their cycling legs in longer distance racing.
Caroline Steffen actually holds the fastest time ever for a female cycle leg over an Ironman distance. And Magali Tesser of Canada is also extremely strong and fast. Laura Bennett is gritting her teeth and pushing over this last bit of the mountain, and now she'll have a fast descent.
Lauren needs to capitalize on this descent and get back in touch with Lauren up front. If she can come off the bike with Lauren, she could stick with her on that run.
Goss on the descent, watching the corners carefully, but keeping her speed up. Greg Bennett is flying.
He is flying. His goal was to ride about 52 kilometers per hour on the flat sections. And if he holds this pace, he's going to average about 42 to 43 kilometers per hour on a bicycle. That's faster than a lot of cars are driving through towns.
Well, he's spent years training, 43 years young. Lagerstrom must be wondering, what does he have to do to get within sight of Greg Bennett?
The best thing Lagerstrom can do is just keep riding as hard as he can, because we know this man is not going to ease up. And now he's making the turn, and he's almost back to T2.
Well, Greg Bennett rides best when he rides angry. And look at his face. He's coming into the transition now. His lead is massive.
He has over a minute and 45 seconds on the next competitor. That is a gigantic lead.
Goss now descending through the village. She doesn't have far to go either. Meanwhile, Bennett, a very fast transition. This is what 25 years of racing gives you.
Greg out on the run in front. I think he knows with some of these young guns behind him, he's going to need close to a 2-minute gap to try to hold them off.
And here they come, moving in, Lagerstrom there. But Josh Amberger has moved up back into that second position. Through this corner, really great handling skills.
This is an impressive ride from Josh today. I know he hasn't been feeling great for the last few days. He's really still digging in. And here we've got Reed, O'Grady, Godet. They're all still together. This is anybody's race still.
Let's watch Lagerstrom's transition. He's been racing on the ITU series. He's very, very fast. There is Josh Amberger. He's also looking, oh, look at that. He is out and off.
This is a man on a mission. He won Alcatraz on the run, and it looks like he's going to try to do the same thing here.
Well, Greg Bennett, a 57.44, 1 minute and 45 seconds faster than Matt Reed. Eric Lagerstrom and Berger a solid ride as Graham O'Grady, but nowhere near Bennett.
Radha Vodičková, she looks smooth and she is focused forward. She's now in third position and she's chasing this woman, Laura Bennett, who's got a bit of a grimace on her face.
Pushing for home because she is chasing this woman. She has led for over an hour now, and as she comes into the transition area, now it's about preparing yourself for the run ahead.
Mentally, Lauren still probably has a few demons from Alcatraz. She was off the bike first there and got run down by Ashley Gentle. So you have to wonder how confident she feels going into this run.
Laura Bennett coming in second. There's only a very small gap, and you're right, it's the pressure that she is exerting. What a great ride by Vodičková.
Radka has really closed the gap and has put herself in a position to be on the podium and to possibly challenge for maybe even first place. She's a fantastic runner as well.
Quick transition will be critical here. Lauren Goss is out onto the run course. She has the lead, 10 brutal kilometers ahead of her.
Laura Bennett with a smooth transition, staying calm and focused. She rode hard all day, and now she's got a small gap to chase down Lauren Goss.
And another Olympian, this time from the Czech Republic, Vodičková in third position.
The women's bike splits reveal that Magali Tesser had the fastest split of the day, the 105.53, about 45 seconds ahead of Lauren Goss, putting her in a position to strike on the run.
The Beijing International Triathlon course is set in the beautiful Garden Expo Parkland. Built to host the 2013 International Garden Expo, the extensive park is full of decorative landscapes and floral tributes from around the world. The colours of nature create serenity, and architectural features stimulate the senses. This feature of Feng Tai presents a race venue like no other.
The 10-kilometer run winds its way through the beautiful grounds of Garden Expo Park. At the 4-kilometer mark, athletes will climb 240 steps to reach the highest point in the park with stunning views of surrounding Feng Tai. The course will take racers along Stone Pass and through picturesque gardens and then back to the park's main entrance where spectators, family, and friends will be waiting at the finish line.
Greg Bennett out on the run, looking very smooth at the moment, but the question is, has he done enough with a 1 minute 45 second lead, or did he put everything into the bike leg?
This isn't the first time that Greg has raced an Olympic distance race, but you can see the effort showing on his face. He certainly is pressing hard still because he knows that this man, Eric Lagerstrom, is an exceptional runner, and his 10K time has improved 3 or 4 minutes in the last year.
Lagerstrom had a spectacular victory at the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon this year, so we know he's strong. Matt Reed, so much experience. He's now moved up into third spot, and Goudet hanging tough.
This is still anyone's race, really. It's a really hard run course, and you can tell, just looking at these men, that they're all exhausted from that really grueling, challenging ride.
And these are some of the fittest men in the world, but Greg Bennett has a fantastic stride right now. As you said, Jenna, he knows how to race. In fact, he was world #1 for 2 years. Goss continues to look behind.
She's not even just looking behind. She keeps glancing back over and over as if she's expecting to turn around and see Laura and maybe Radka right on her shoulder. Those demons from Alcatraz are certainly yelling loudly in her ear right now.
And this may well be the demon. Laura Bennett is looking very good right now. She really knows how to pace herself.
Radha Vodičková looking smooth and effortless, which is amazing because this woman had knee surgery earlier this year and hasn't been back running for very long.
These things will be very tough on anybody's needs. The first of the brutal stairs here over this course, but Erik Lagerstrom seems unfazed.
Those stairs are horrible. They're shallow and they're deep, so it makes it really uncomfortable to run up them. Somebody like Matt Reed, who has longer legs, may find it a little bit easier.
You can see Cesc Godet is really hurting there, and this is where they are heading to, the temple on the top of the hill. Greg Bennett still looking good, running in a beautiful upright position.
Lauren Goss looking like she's having a little bit of trouble navigating these stairs, but she continues to lead this women's race.
Bennett knows this course, and he knows that there's some very tough terrain coming up, and this is where it starts, 260 stairs.
And the athletes will feel every single one of them.
And this is a breaking point of the course. Let's see how Erik Lagerstrom, he's never done them before. He's bounding up the stairs.
Erik actually said that he didn't even really look at all the stairs because he wanted to discover the course as it came at him on race day. I don't know if that's a smart move.
Greg Bennett knows the course. He's slowing down. And now Laura Bennett approaching her first set of stairs. She's looking really good.
She is looking really smooth, and Erik is taking a bit different approach than Greg did. He's running, but slowly up the stairs.
Matt Reed, he's done this race 4 times. You can see big, deep breaths. He knows what's ahead.
These stairs will send your heart rate skyrocketing, so a few deep breaths at the bottom is probably a really good idea.
Lauren Goss running really well. She's running away from Shu Ruzu Yang. But Laura Bennett is closing in. But look right behind, it is Radha Vodičková and Magali Tesser right behind her.
Magali is storming her way to the front of this race. She seems determined to get herself on the podium.
Greg Bennett is hurting. He was looking down at the ground, but he is within striking distance of the finish. Can he hang on for what would be a massive win?
Mentally, as an athlete, you want to believe that the hardest part of this course is over when you reach the top of the stairs, but it's actually rolling up at the top, so there's little hills that you still have to navigate.
And this may well be where Erik Lagerstrom gets to see how close he is to Greg Bennett. Matt Reed, he is hurting, but he's pushing hard. He's moved up into 3rd spot.
He's put a gap over Cesc Godet, and he's now solidifying his spot in 3rd position.
Laura Bennett is chasing our women's leader. Meanwhile, Greg Bennett is being chased himself, looking tentative on the stairs.
These stairs are difficult to run down because it's hard as you get tired to not miss them. And right behind him, we get a glimpse of Erik Lagerstrom, who is flying down the stairs and has closed the gap to only 16 seconds.
Lagerstrom made up 20 seconds on this part of the course, and we know he's a very strong finisher.
He's using a sideways technique to throw himself down the stairs to close as much time as he can. Meanwhile, Lauren Goss is halfway up the beginning of the stairs, and you can tell she is laboring with her hands on her knees.
She's never done this course before, and she is experiencing the uniqueness and the pain. Lagerstrom, has he got Bennett in his sights? Yes, he does.
Lagerstrom looks incredible right now. Look how smooth he is, how effortless. It looks like Greg has got a challenge on his hands.
Bennett now on the stairs. The challenge ahead of her, the toughest part of the course. She's looking good.
Lauren Goss now halfway through tackling the stairs. I wonder if those demons are still screaming in her ear.
The legs would be burning. These guys are pushing each other hard.
Nobody's there.
Well, a quick discussion there. Great sportsmanship as Erik Lagerstrom assumes the lead, but Greg Bennett will not just let him go.
Greg's going to keep fighting as long as he can, but that really was a display of true respect and sportsmanship between both of these men. They know how hard this course is and how hard they've both worked today.
These vicious stairs have claimed another victim. Vodičková into 2nd.
The
final challenge on the 10K run course is a quick visit through the quarry. Athletes must navigate changing terrain and a steep descent, one that's an unwelcome task on already tired legs. After winding their way out of the quarry, athletes are faced with one final set of stairs. Even though they've already scaled more than 350 steps today, these final 13 are arguably the hardest, signaling the gateway to the finish line.
Lagerstrom knows that the finish line is only about 1 kilometre away. He's pushing hard because Greg Bennett will not give up.
Greg is still fighting. He knows there are men still chasing him down. And honestly, the win is still right in front of him.
Lauren Goss on the downhill, also looking at the win.
Matt Reed making up time, closing the gap, trying to hunt down Greg Bennett.
He's looking solid in that third position, but the momentum is off the front.
Lauren is looking a little tentative now coming down this last section of stairs. It's really hard when those legs are so tired not to trip over yourself.
And it's got to be a relief once you get down to the flat. Vodičková is really moving now, and she probably has Goss within sight.
She's dropped Laura Bennett, and she's closing in on first place.
Lagerstrom in the bottom of the quarry, but he still has one more uphill to go.
One more uphill and 13 more stairs before he gets to that finish line.
The lead is only about 15 seconds. Bennett is not out of this yet. He has so much experience. Does he have the speed to claw it back over this last 500 metres?
Those are the legs of Laura Bennett, and right behind her, Magali Teixeira from Canada, who's had a phenomenal run and is chasing her hard.
And what a fantastic technique that she had coming down those stairs, making up a huge amount of time. Meanwhile, Lauren Goss takes one more look behind her. She must be starting to feel secure, but Vodičková is charging.
Nothing about Lauren's body language tells me she feels secure. I don't know if she's going to feel good till she crosses that finish line. Magali has now moved into third position, and look behind Laura, Felicity Sheedy-Ryan sprinting towards a podium.
And this man is sprinting towards a win and $20,000, and the first time ever that in 1 year an athlete will win Alcatraz and Beijing.
The veteran who put it all on the line on the bike, coming home for a fantastic second place finish.
And he'll be very proud of that result. Now we can see he appreciates the great performance. And Maddie Reed, third place on the podium again here at the Beijing International Triathlon.
Lauren Goss down in the bottom of the quarry, getting close to the finish line. Has she conquered her demons? Has she done enough? We know that there's a lot going on behind her.
It's incredible to think that she has dominated this race since they exited the water. She's been out in front. Vodičková looking ahead, now also looking behind. She's put in such a great effort. She must be hurting.
Magali Teixeira, she's got pain on her face, looking forward because right behind her, Felicity Sheedy-Ryan from Australia seems to be sprinting.
Meanwhile, Godoy from Spain takes fourth position, and another great result there for the New Zealander, Graham O'Grady.
Sheedy-Ryan has now passed Magali Teixeira and is moved into third position. She's put herself on the podium with a fantastic run.
What a victory by Lauren Goss. She is absolutely thrilled, as she should be, the performance of her career.
She conquered her demons from Alcatraz and got that win she was hunting. And Radha Vodičková, what a phenomenal performance by her. And Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, I cannot say enough about how fast she has just run this course.
All smiles here for Vodičková. She is stoked, her first time in Beijing, and she comes across the line in second place. Well, it's Speedy Ryan will take third, and a close Magali Tesser in fourth.
This event just gets better and better. This is the best women's and probably men's race that we've had here in the course of the history of the Beijing International Triathlon.
Over 4 years, we've never had such drama or such close competitive racing. And they're all smiles now because the pain is over. Glory goes to Eric Lagerstrom from the United States. And what a performance by Greg Bennett in second, Matt Reid in third, the Spaniard Cesc Godoy in fourth, Graham O'Grady of New Zealand strong in fifth, and the runner-up from last year in sixth.
I never thought I'd be racing Greg Bennett and Matt Reid. You know, I saw those guys on magazine covers when I was a kid, and it was like something out of a dream. It's like I said, it's hard to process.
You go down in history as the first man to ever win Alcatraz and Beijing, ever, period. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I've never made history before, I don't think, so I guess there's a first time for everything, and I'm just going to try and enjoy it, and I think it'll sink in slowly, just like Alcatraz did. Maybe in 2 days I'll have another wow moment, and then a week later I'll just mind blown or whatever, but I'm just going to kind of enjoy it.
Your winner today, Lauren Goss, leading almost from start to finish. Radha Vodičková from the Czech Republic with a strong run to finish second, followed by the fleet-footed Felicity Sheedy-Ryan in third. A great race by Laura Bennett in fifth as well.
This is my first time winning any big Olympic distance race. I find myself always getting second, so it was really awesome. I've been watching this race for 4 years and always wanting to be here and always asking to be here, and finally I got in, so it means a lot to win. To win in China. I've never won a race over here, so it feels good, yeah.
It's been another outstanding year for the Beijing International Triathlon. Special thanks to the citizens and government of Fengtai and Beijing capital land. History was made, with Eric Lagerstrom backing up his escape from Alcatraz victory on this dramatically challenging and stunningly beautiful course. Glory also to Lauren Goss, who raced with strength and grace. We look forward to your company next time when we once again race the Beijing International Triathlon.